Boom. Come on, Naeem. All right, gentlemen, we're back. Monday, game time. Preparation should have happened yesterday. Monday should have been already working, hustling. I already know what's going on. Oh, my goodness. That Naeem came through loud. Sunday preparation should have happened. You guys should have been seeing what was going on the charts, had your weeks prepared, understood what the game plan was. So on Monday, you can actually execute as everybody else is just rolling out of bed and getting ready for the week on Monday morning. That's why they dread Mondays, because they have no preparation. They have no game plan in place. They're just a feather in the wind of life, hoping things to maybe go their way. Who knows? But we're prepared. The gentleman inside the Taylor's Code, we're prepared. We're ready to make money this week. So, gentlemen, talk about an announcement yesterday, right? So Pompino, rightfully so, we call him Pompino, came on his Truth Social and said, we're going to launch it's not official yet. They haven't put it into law. They haven't signed the order, but they're going to create a strategic crypto reserve, right? Some type of reserve of multiple different shit coins, which is funny that he's not just doing Bitcoin. He's doing Ethereum, ADA, Solana, XRP, etc. Which I understand why he would do that, because he's trying to incentivize these American-made cryptos to do well, like XRP, Solana, Cardano, as opposed to just being Bitcoin, just being Ethereum. Now, personally, I would encourage them to only do a strategic Bitcoin reserve, similar to how we had gold as a reserve asset, and it was just gold. Now we don't have it anymore, but gold was a great reserve asset. So I would encourage them to do Bitcoin as the strict reserve asset, just because it's simple, it's easy, fixed supply with the 21 million tokens. And that upward price action on Bitcoin is going to benefit all the other altcoins that we trade, right? The U.S. government doesn't necessarily themselves have to hold these assets. I think they're getting out ahead of their skis a bit. So just pump Bitcoin, encourage the rest of the world, encourage the rest of the U.S., not U.S. governments, encourage the rest of the world governments to accumulate Bitcoin. Therefore, that liquidity spike, that wealth effect that happens on Bitcoin can then go ahead and trickle down into altcoins. They don't need to themselves actually inject liquidity into these altcoins, because what I see that doing is, if they include a few into this strategic reserve, then you're going to see everybody else pile into these shit coins, and it's actually going to take liquidity away from other shit coins. If you're just pumping Bitcoin, it allows people to decide what altcoins they want to accumulate, as opposed to the U.S. is buying Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, XRP, Cardano, then everybody's going to pile into those altcoins, obviously, right? Into those on-chain runners. Now, obviously, Ethereum is one of our altcoins, the biggest one that we hold, so we don't mind that, but it's just a little bit too much. So before I get into the first chart, because we're going to take a look at Bitcoin, we're going to take a look at Ethereum and see where we're at with the market after what we knew was going to happen this morning, which was a sell-off on the New York Open, which is why it's funny that they do this on a Sunday, create this massive CME gap, the largest one on Bitcoin ever, and then what are they going to do? They're going to refill the gap, and we'll take a look at that in a second. But what I was going to say with Bitcoin? What was I going to say on Bitcoin? Oh, so what's going to happen now, once the U.S. eventually implements the strategic reserve, there's going to be two groups of people in this world, okay? There's going to be the ones who can see the opportunity that's literally staring them in their face, looking them right in the eyes. They're going to be people who see this opportunity to front-run the U.S. government, and therefore front-run every other nation on the planet who's going to follow the U.S. government and be able to get into these assets at a much lower price, okay? That's going to be one group of people. Then there's going to be the other group of people. They're going to be the individuals who see that the U.S. is going to implement this strategic reserve, right? And decide, well, you know what, it doesn't make sense yet. I'm going to let the U.S. accumulate. I'm going to let the, British government accumulate. I'm going to let China accumulate. I'm going to let Russia accumulate. I'm going to let the United Arab Emirates accumulate. I'm going to let all these other nations accumulate before me. And once it's become much too obvious and everybody owns Bitcoin and owns Ethereum and has it a part of their investment portfolio, they're going to decide, you know what, now I want to buy. There's going to be the two groups of people. And people are confused as to why they haven't made money yet, why they're not rich yet. Well, it's because there's these obvious opportunities staring you right in the face, and you refuse to take action on them before the common man does. If you want to benefit from the opportunity, if you want to benefit from the price appreciation on crypto, you have to buy it before the masses buy it. The US government, the president of the United States is literally telling you, hey, we're going to try to start buying Bitcoin. We're going to start trying to buy crypto. Don't you think it would be intelligent to, maybe I should front run the US government, the country that has the world reserve currency, the country that has the most liquidity that can inject into markets, maybe I should front run them, right? It would make sense. Why wouldn't you? So what's happening right now is huge because you have to have the foresight to understand where things are going to go. Okay, clearly AI, clearly crypto have been, are, and will continue to be the future. The future of finance, the future of industry, the future of business. And so we know this to be true. We know that these are the future industries of the world. So you need to implement these things into either your business, if it's AI, or into your portfolio, if it's crypto, so that you can benefit from the masses joining these industries. Okay, this was the same thing that happened in the 90s with the dot-com bubble. Why did so many billionaires get printed from the dot-com bubble? Because the internet became popular. The personal computer became popular. Microsoft came out of that. Apple came out of that. These companies started building this new industry. It's revolutionary technology. I guarantee you, during the dot-com bubble, there were the same people who said, the internet's not going to be that big. Tech companies aren't going to be that big. Not everything's going to go online. No, everything's still going to be in person. We're not going to be shopping online on things like Amazon. That stuff's not going to work. Those are the same people that are today saying AI is not that important. Crypto is not important. These things aren't going to be... It's the same people. You have to have the foresight to understand where industry is going. Okay, I'm teaching you this. I'm saying this because when it's obvious, it's too late. And to me, it's already obvious. But when everybody's starting to do it, it's too late. During the dot-com bubble was your opportunity to get ahead on the dot-com bubble, become rich off of technology. Now it's AI. Now it's crypto. You have another opportunity to do it. Once in a generation, lifetime opportunity to be able to make money, get rich off of crypto and AI. Are you going to do it? No, AI is not going to be that. AI, yeah. What are you talking about? You're the same guy that in the 90s thought the internet was stupid. And now look where we're at. Foresight, gentlemen. Okay, so anyways, they announced the strategic Bitcoin reserve. Great, cool. Not implemented yet. We get a big pump on Sunday. And then what do we say? Literally inside of our Discord, because we were talking with the gentleman about whether or not we would get a retrace on this pump. I said this. I go, Monday open, we're going to get a retrace on the New York Open. It's going to happen. That's exactly what we got. So let's pop into the charts, take a look at what we got in the markets, and let's see how we're going to position for moving for the rest of this year. But good to see you, gentlemen. Jacob, Naeem, Bobby. Gentlemen are fired up. All right, screen capture. Let's do... What would be the easiest thing to do? Let me do screen one, and then I'll do it like this. Mr. Producer. All right, gentlemen, let's take a look at these charts. Okay, so what happened on Bitcoin? So we nuked out of this range, and I'll actually take away a couple of these indicators. So let's take away this. And yeah, we'll take away this. Okay. So here's where we're at on Bitcoin on the daily time frame. So we've been ranging in this range up top here whenever we went to new all-time highs. And we were kind of just hanging out. We were talking about hanging around right here. No signal. Nothing's happening. Finally, we broke down. We broke down out of the range. We grabbed liquidity. Then once you break down out of a range, you're going to get this cascade event. You're going to get this huge push down lower. So once you lose a range, it's poor. Ollie, where's Logan? He is currently, him and AOC were working on a bill to send in more illegal immigrants from countries around the world. So Logan and AOC, they're working on a new app to be able to get these people into the country. So he should be here around 12 Eastern. Anyways, so we break down out of this range, we get this cascade, and we get this huge nuke down past this liquidity down to about 78K, okay? So why is this an important level? How am I looking at this chart and getting some type of information? Well, the next significant level after this liquidity that we had grabbed, and we had assumed we would grab this at some point. Once we dropped down past that liquidity, the next major level was this support above the previous all-time high before we broke out of this 8-month range, right? So that was at 73.7 thousand. That was the next super obvious level. That would have been the perfect generational entry, retest, super obvious. Everybody pile in here, get your buys in, generational entries. What happened was, because it was so obvious, and this is what will tend to happen, that was such an obvious level, this previous all-time high support, that we actually front ran it. We front ran it, and we ended up closing this daily candle with this massive wick on, this was Friday. We came right back up to this liquidity, right? Then we kind of peeled up on Saturday, and then what happens on Sunday? We get this massive candle to the upside because of the news of the strategic crypto reserve, which makes sense. Why is the price going to pump on a reserve currency announcement? Well, because the U.S. government is going to get front ran by every retail investor in other nation in the world if they can be. So that's why you get this massive $10,000 candle. So 84,000 up to 90. Yeah, literally a 10K candle. Bang, meat stick. So we actually, what happened, if you guys look here, is we actually pumped back up into the range, came back down today on the New York Open whenever we did our retrace of that move, as we expected. So TradFi comes in, they nuke this move back down, and we perfect. Look at this. Look at how perfect that retested this wick right here and the range low, right? Came right back down, retested the bottom of the range, popped back up, and we're actually still inside of the range. So let's see where we close today. If we can close today back within this range, all right, we're going somewhere. We're doing something. So when I see this range, how am I going to draw this to try to pull some alpha out of this? So I'm going to show you guys how I would draw something like this so I can teach you so you can do it for yourself. So, right, we get this range together. So here's the range. Range high, range low right here. Okay, we built out this range. Here's the mid-range, clear interaction with the mid-range. This is how we know this is a good range to draw, right? Clear interaction with the mid-range. Clear interaction with the top of the range, clear interaction with the mid-range, right? Bottom of the range. And then you see all this interaction here with the middle of the range, okay? Now, within this range, what are significant levels on Bitcoin to take a look at where we can say, okay, once we reclaim this level, we can flip bullish again? Because in the meantime, in short term, I'm still bearish, and I'm going to show you why I'm bearish locally. So if you draw a volume profile on here, a fixed range volume profile, our point of control, where the most volume is transacted in this range, is right here at 97.2, 97.1,000, okay? So why is that an important level? It's an important level within this range because that's whenever the most transacting occurs, okay? So the blue is buying, and then the red is sell pressure. So this is the volume coming through. Clearly, at this 97.1 thousand range, or price is the most transacting happening here. So when we can reclaim this level right here, which funny enough is right by the mid-range, when we can reclaim this, that's when we flip bullish again, okay? Because if we reclaim that level, that means more people are buying than selling, okay? So that's our point of control here with this volume profile. Now, something else I'm going to take a look at on here. So I'm going to say, all right, I'm looking at these Bitcoin significant levels. Let's mark out this price point. I actually have it. We'll do it like this. That's 97.2. We'll call it, right? We'll put it right here. All right. So that's our point of control. Now we also want to see, come on now, Naeem, you know what it is. It's always fantastic analysis. Also, gentlemen, like the stream, by the way, if you haven't already liked the stream. Like the stream so we can get this out to more individuals and grow the network. So we get that price point. That's where we got to reclaim, 97.2. And that mid-range is going to be a good point to reclaim. I'm also going to take a look at where's the yearly open. Okay, because the yearly open has shown to be a significant level for quite some time now. So I'll go here, and I'm going to say, where's the yearly open? Yearly open was right here. Okay. So the yearly open would have been, yeah, right there. So there's our yearly open. All right, so let's mark that out as well. Because this yearly open has had interactions with it as well. And as soon as we lost it, we nuked down, we pop up, pop back down from this yearly open. We also want to take a look at, I'm going to put this in blue. Okay, so we're going to do 2025 yearly open. Okay, that's going to be a point that we pay attention to, and I'm going to show you why that's important on the lower time frames, because there's going to be more interaction with it on the lower time frames. Yeah, I do think we get more bullish news this week too, Bobby. The only, it's not an issue with that, it's just the technical levels show that we should be coming down lower on the SPX and Ethereum, which I'm going to get to here in a second. So here's our yearly open, 93.5. Okay, so we want to reclaim this yearly open. We want to reclaim this point of control, this 97.2, to flip bullish again. Okay, and then let's also take a look at our February monthly open. So if we take a look at February, so the open would be right here. Yep, right here would be the open. Okay. Okay, there's your February monthly open. Let's put a price label on here as well. Okay. 102.5. So here are our three major levels within this range that we want to be paying attention to, okay? So we didn't reclaim this 93.5. That's the first level we got to get. We got to get over this number. Once we get above this point of control, now we're flipping bullish. Now I'm saying, okay, if we start transacting up in here again, I'm going to be piling in more into my altcoins. And then as soon as we break that 102, we should be pushing out of the range. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for if we were to flip bullish on a local time frame. But again, like I said, locally, I still think there's more downside, and here's why. Okay, but that's how I would build out this range. This is how I'd take a look at it. Okay, we got our POC, we got our monthly open, we got our yearly open, we got our liquidity that we took down below. We front ran this major level. So this is how I'm looking at something like this. Okay. So why do I think we still get another push of the downside on BTC? But considering this is probably our low. So I do believe that we got our low in on Bitcoin, which is huge. But there should be a little bit more downside before we actually start making a push higher over these next couple of months. So let's go on a lower time frame. Take a look at something here. Okay, look at this. See? Now you can see more interaction with those levels that we were talking about. So you see how we come up or we come down, right? Pop back up, and then we use our liquidity that we grabbed originally here as this little boost off the liquidity back up into the range. We reject off of the yearly open, right? This is a sticky point of resistance. So you see how we reject off of the yearly open, pop back down, but we retest the bottom of the range perfectly. So we want to try to stay up in here. Now, truthfully, I see this happening. So we're going to probably see something like this where we pop back down into here before we start moving back up. So we might do this and then come down. We might, pop up a little bit and then come back down into here. But at some point, I'm expecting to get a fill of this FVG. Also, what we had already started doing is filling the CME gap on Bitcoin. So here's why it's a little bit of an issue to drop news like that on a Sunday where we get this massive pump on Bitcoin. It's because you're going to create a huge gap on CME futures, right? And there's a ton of alpha when you take a look at a futures chart. This is why you always want to be paying attention to, where's it at? Where is it at? CME, here it is. So here's the issue when you drop news like this on a Sunday, okay? The CME futures chart, it only trades Monday through Friday, right? TradFi, they're in fucking prehistoric times still, and they only work Monday through Friday, okay? Goofies. So what happens whenever you can only trade these markets Monday through Friday, you open up with gaps from Friday to Monday because there's 3 days of the week, or there's 2 days of the weekend that you can't trade. So if the price of Bitcoin goes up significantly on the weekend, as it did yesterday, when you open up on Monday, you're going to open up much higher than what the close price was on Friday. So it creates a gap in the chart. So here's what happened. We close on Friday. You see how this chart closes on Friday. We close up here, okay? Monday open, we're all the way up here. $10,000, literally a $10,000 CME gap. Look. So we close right here on Friday. And we open there on Monday, okay? So we get this 11.5% CME gap, all right? So when you get a CME gap, typically what's going to happen is on Monday, TradFi is going to do what? This is why we know we were going to get a sell-off this morning. They're going to try to fill that gap. They want to refill the gap, grab all that liquidity, and then take the next move up higher if that's what the price action is going to do. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean it has to go higher again, but they're going to come back for that gap at some point. That's typically what happens. So there's a lot of alpha in this. So then if you see a massive move on Sunday, you missed that move, you didn't know that that announcement was going to come of the reserve, which none of us did except insiders, and there's an insider that made a shit ton of money off of this. We can talk about that later. But if you miss this massive move, what you could do on Monday, it's not a bad strategy, is you could open up a short position on the New York Open, understanding that likely they're going to come back to at least partially, if not fully fill this gap before moving it up higher. Boom, there's a way to make money for yourself right now. So what you would have done on this CME futures chart is the way that these candlesticks work, I'm sure you gentlemen know, but this body candle right here, the top of that body, is where the price opened up at. So the wick up is where price pumped up to during that daily candle. And this is where price, this wick down below, this was the lowest price was today. Okay. But we opened on a red candle, you open at the top. The top is where we opened. Okay. So what you would have done is you would have opened a short position from here, shorted it all the way down here after we hit open, and you close your short, you make your money. Okay. If you put on some high leverage, make some good cash. Okay. So you see this candle is what happened right here. So on Sunday, we get this massive candle, and then we come back and we start to refill this CME gap, right? So imagine it like this. I'm trying to give you a visual. So teaching you guys how to look at these things. So we closed here. We open up here. Okay. So this yellow box, this is the CME gap, okay? Bumbaclot. The fuck is this? Hold on, Logan. I'll get you here in a second. So this is your CME gap. Let me put this in. So this was our CME gap, right? This red candle, imagine it wasn't there this morning, right? Imagine this is before the New York Open. You open, you get this candle starting at the top of this CME gap, and now it comes all the way down, and it's filled just about half of it, okay? So the reason I see a little bit more downside taking place on Bitcoin locally before we start to make this next move up is typically they're going to want to do something like this and fill that entire gap. So I see Bitcoin coming back down to, let's call it 84, 85, 86,000 at the least. That would be the least amount of downside. We could come back down further and fill some of this wick, right? This wick down at 73. This wick only came down to 78.6. So we could even come down further to fill some of that wick. But that's why I'm expecting a little bit more downside on Bitcoin this week. Okay, so keep that in mind. I wouldn't FOMO back in at the top here like some people did on Monday whenever they saw the price so much higher, and then you get this immediate pullback. Okay, let's get Mr. B's in here. Mr. Producer. We got all them hoes. BZ. Bumba Clot. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, what's up, Perry?
What's up, dude?
I'm fucking ripping it up for these gentlemen. Showing them the CME gap ski of the year. The biggest Bitcoin CME gap we've ever had. So, yeah, I was just showing them these levels on Bitcoin up top. And then how this Monday Open, like we were talking about inside the Discord, we knew that we are going to get this puke instantly off the New York Open because they're going to come and fill the CME gap. So, locally, I still see us pulling back at the least to like 84, 85,000 again to fill the rest of this gap before we actually end up moving up higher if we get more bullish news this week. So I'm not sure if you got a chance to take a look at the Bitcoin chart after yesterday or any input on that.
No, I was reading through a couple things this morning. The one big thing that I was looking at because I was watching the stream for about a minute or two whenever I was in the waiting room.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw you going over this. I don't know if you saw or not, just because it had to do with a lot of what we were talking about last week. The House approved let me see this. Yeah, so a budget resolution, including raising the debt ceiling, was narrowly passed in the House.
Got you. They almost approved raising the debt ceiling.
It was approved in the House.
Oh,
so
okay,
now it's going to Senate. Because they called Trump, and Trump was like on the phone talking to the Republicans in the House that have been on the edge, that have been jamming up the process of actually getting the debt ceiling increase, because that's what ends QT, is getting the debt ceiling increase, because then they can actually spend money again. So yeah, it actually got through the House because they called Trump, and Trump was talking to the Republicans that have been jamming up the process.
Right.
So yeah, now it goes to the Senate. I mean, the Senate's probably going to kick the can around for a little bit, hopefully not try and change it too much, because if they try and make a bunch of alterations, and they're going to have to send it back to the House to reapprove it. But yeah, so I mean, that's super bullish, and to me. Yes, that's what I was looking at this morning.
Nice. So if they increase the debt ceiling, they can spend more money. I thought that they were selling off bonds, and because the debt ceiling wasn't rising, that's why they were putting liquidity into the market with the bonds. You remember that?
No, so that what they do whenever they can't raise the debt ceiling is they have to spend from the TGA, which is the Treasury General Account, which whenever we were looking at it last was about $830 billion. So they have to continue to spend money from that account to cover government spending. And whenever they're taking profits from their investments and everything, they're not reinvesting it. They're having to use it to cover government spending, because there's no more room on the debt ceiling.
Got you.
So they said that usually the government will kind of kick the can around on it until the quote unquote X date, which the X date would be projecting when the US government is going to be completely broke if they don't increase the debt ceiling, which people that I was reading were estimating that would be sometime in August, based off of the amount of time that they have to spend the Treasury General Account, and then also the influx of money that they're going to collect from taxes, that they're pretty much going to blow everything by, at the latest, sometime in August, and they're going to have to come to an agreement by then, or we're going to be cooked.
Okay. Yeah. So good though. Bullish. Get that thing fucking approved and start to inject some liquidity into the markets.
Yeah, and they are right now. They're injecting money from the TGA.
Beautiful. Okay. So yeah, so this is basically what I was saying I'm seeing on Bitcoin. So there's two different scenarios. We either come back down and fill this wick before moving up higher. Okay. Or second scenario is we don't come all the way back down to fill the wick, but essentially we bounce here, and then instead of coming all the way back down, we come back up in here, right? So the big levels that we got to flip are the 93.5, which is the yearly open, 97.2, which is this POC, on this range, and then 102.5 we're fucking sending out to outer space. So soon, gentlemen, soon. Now we just got to be smart and intelligent in the way that we accumulate our assets at the lows. We literally caught the lows on Andy and Wolf over the last week or two on the downside. We clipped in at Pico lows on local bottoms, and potentially the actual bottom if Bitcoin starts to recover here.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I feel like whatever path it's going to take is probably going to be determined by what Eric and Trump and these guys continue to do. If they're going to continue to bull post crypto, then I can't see it refilling the wick, because I think that people are just going to be hodling.
Right.
They're going to be just not wanting to miss out, because I mean, we saw what happened yesterday. Whenever markets were closed, people were sleeping, and they started bull posting about the strategic reserve and all the coins that are going to be a part of it, and boom, you got 12% moves on Ethereum, 10% moves on Bitcoin, almost immediately. So I think if they continue to provide bullish catalysts like that, even though there's some other uncertainties going on in the markets right now, and just in politics in general, like obviously the meeting with Zelensky didn't go very well. There's some uncertainty with the tariffs and where they're going to continue to roll out tariffs too. But from what I was listening to with what's that guy's name? His last name is Bannon.
Oh, Steve Bannon.
Steve Bannon. Yeah, I couldn't remember his first name.
Doggy.
I watched another video of his yesterday where he was doing an interview with some politician that has a private news network in the UK. It was like GP something. I can't remember what it was called, or GB something. But he was basically saying that they've been planning Trump's presidency for 4 years in Mar-a-Lago every single day. Like they've been working 16 to 20 hours a day planning for whenever Trump gets back into office, exactly what they're going to do. And he said that with these executive orders and all this stuff, he said they're just basically bombarding the Democratic Party to the point where like the Democrats don't even know what to show opposition to.
Right.
Because they're just being overwhelmed of like 15 executive orders a day, tariffs this, passing this and that, like just constant. They're just completely overwhelmed and don't even know what to put up resistance to. So yeah, like I think we were talking about it one of the other streams. I think that this stuff, people are just going to get so desensitized to Trump approving stuff, being volatile, getting in people's faces, causing problems, that the markets are just going to kind of price it in. And I think that if, regardless of what kind of uncertainty is going on, as long as they're bull posting crypto specifically, then I think we're going to continue to move up. And then once we get liquidity on our side, we'll be good thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Higher time frame. There's absolutely no reason we don't rip fucking face. It's just going to happen. There's no recession coming later this year. This year is always the most bullish for markets, the year after a presidential election. So because that's what they want to do. They want the markets to do well for themselves as well. Trump objectively has a huge ego. He's not going to allow markets to just he's not going to allow markets go into a bear market during the first year of his presidency. It's not going to happen. He's going to do something to inject liquidity into the markets to make this shit go up. And huge, because we've been tracking this now, Logan, the GLI, because you brought it up last week. We opened up today. Boom, big meat stick. Load it up, baby. Inject it. Inject it into my veins. I need more liquidity. So this, if we can get this to all-time highs again, so this was previous all-time highs on the GLI, the Global Liquidity Index. We were talking about how this move on the GLI 2 months after, right? So risk assets are about two months delayed. This pumps all the way up to all-time highs. What happens to Bitcoin? Just about 2 months later, boom, ends up ripping to new all-time highs. Then you see the GLI start to nuke, come back down. This is where you see Bitcoin starting to range and then quick little nuke. But now GLI is doing what? Pumping again.
It's up in it.
Yeah, it's up in it. So we just got to keep seeing that go up. If we keep seeing this pump up, this GLI, and then we can get this into new all-time highs, you're going to see Bitcoin, Ethereum, all of our altcoins at new all-time highs again as well. That's the huge macro catalyst that we're waiting on.
Yeah, I was reading through a couple, trying to see while you're going over that.
Did I want to show
Because
anything else on Bitcoin? Yeah, go ahead.
I was trying to see, I was trying to look at it this morning, but I don't have the chart or the indicator or whatever. I couldn't find it for PMI. I
PMI.
don't know if the number's out yet for March.
Oh, the pussy and money indicator or
Yeah.
index. Let's see. Whoops. Yeah, that print would not have come out yet. Would it have?
It said March 3rd.
March 3rd. Okay.
Yeah.
They usually announce those things in the afternoon. Let me see if I can look it up. Whoops. Purchasing Managers Index.
Yep.
So did we get it to come in today? Let's see. I don't see anything. Oh, yeah. If it's over 50, that's bullish, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. I know we were going over that before. Fuck are these skulls?
I don't think this is, I think this is some chart that some dude made.
Yeah. It's got it though, because I believe that was the number, right? We had just crossed back over 50.
Yeah.
March, April 21. Yeah, this makes sense. Like the last bull run that we were in on crypto coming into November, December, January, March. That's whenever Dogecoin, altcoins, Bitcoin, Ethereum all had those blow off tops in the first half of 2021. This is whenever this was peaking out.
I'm trying to see if
Yep, same thing in 17. This was up here.
well, yeah, because that's a really good indicator of how the business sectors, like the manufacturing and business sector, is doing.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, whenever it's bullish, it's showing to people that, you know, there's not a very high chance of a recession. There's not a super high chance of a war or any kind of crazy conflicts or uncertainties in the market that are going to be coming in the foreseeable future. And usually, the longer that this stays above 50 and the further above 50 it breaks, the more certainty people have to come further down the risk curve. So, yeah, if we can get a definitive break above 50, because the reason people were saying it may have happened in February was because of the tariff announcement, and a lot of businesses were trying to rush production
Mm-hmm.
before the tariffs were to get put into place. So they didn't know if that number kind of got artificially inflated in February. And that's why I was really wanting to see the report for March.
Look at it though. It's obviously correlated, right? Up high over here, crypto's pumping, starts to come down, crypto comes down. Okay, this comes back up. Look what happens at crypto. Boom, pump up. This starts to come back down. This comes back down to a bear market. This is starting to move a little bit back up. Boom. And so during these two blow off tops in 17 and 21 of those cycles, these were well above 50. Well above 50. This, we've done all of this movement with this just now going over 50. So again, another point of confluence that we haven't had that last leg up on Bitcoin, which because all the major indicators that call tops on Bitcoin have not been hit. So before, these tops happened whenever this PMI was way up in here. So this still has all this to go, which means, well, what's going to happen with Bitcoin? Same thing, because that's what we've been doing over here. Bang, another point of confluence.
I found this says the report for February was 50.3,
50.3.
which was 0.6 percentage points lower compared to the 50.9 that was recorded in January, but it is still above 50, which is good.
Yep, makes sense, right? 50.3 right here.
It says the overall economy continued its expansion for the 58 month after 1 month of contraction in April 2020. And this says a manufacturing PMI above 42.3% over a period of time generally indicates an expansion of the overall economy.
Mm-hmm.
But I see for people that specialize in crypto say that above 50 is where it starts to get really good. And that's when people start to really be willing to come further down the risk curve. Yeah, still above 50 for last month, which is good. That report just came out this morning.
Yeah, I like it because we like we were just saying, it's barely above 50. We have all this that we could come up when shit starts to really heat up, and then Bitcoin should come up higher as well. Yeah, I like it. Larger time frame. There's no reason. I don't see any reason to be bearish on a large enough time frame. It just there just isn't. Locally though, yeah, we're gonna have a little bit of maybe not favorable price action, but all right. I like it though. I'm gonna keep that PMI indicator, the pussy money index. All right. Naeem says his is off the chart. His PMI is always pumping. All right, Naeem, relax. So ETH, quick take a look at ETH, and then we'll jump into the boys club. So ETH, we were talking about same thing, how we get this pump on Sunday, and I drew this before we even. I drew this yesterday. So I was talking to John inside the Discord, and he had done a little bit of TA, and he was having me review what he had done. And so I made this chart and sent it over to him. So I had this FVG drawn out before we actually came back down and filled it. So you see how these things play out, right? So what happens on an FVG, you get this news on Sunday. You get this massive candle back to the upside. Now notice where it rejects, where we would expect it to reject on supply. So if you're seeing ETH hit the bottom of this range at $2,100, this is the bottom of this macro range, which I'll show you guys real quick. Okay. So this is the range that we've been in for since 24, right? Or since, you could call it, beginning of 24. So we've been in this huge range from 4,100 to the top side, and then we wicked down twice now to $2,100. So if you're looking at this and you're trying to trade it, I'm just giving you guys an example of how you could trade this. You could have said, all right, we hit the bottom of the range. Let me open up a long position. I think we're going to move back up, right? You open up a long down here. You get this move back up to the supply. This is where you would want to close or start taking profits, because we came back up off of this pump, hit the underside of our supply, underside retest, and then we reject right off of that supply. Now, why would we expect us to come back down and do that? Well, because you create this FVG, this fair value gap on this move on Ethereum that eventually, typically, will get refilled. So you get this big move to the upside. There's no price action here on the body of this candle. So it comes back down to refill this fair value and then move back up higher if that's what we're going to do. It doesn't necessarily have to come back up higher, but we fill that FVG. That also is because on the ETH CME futures, if we look at, it's right here, same thing we were talking about on Bitcoin. We open up with this huge gap on Monday. So this is what's going to get filled, right? So we opened up here, closed here. Look what happened. If I do this, boom. Look, we almost completely refilled it already. So it'll probably come back down a little bit lower. If we start moving back up, we're going to want to see this 22, looks like 22.3 level hold before we start moving back up on ETH. Now, I don't necessarily believe that we're going to come back up on ETH and just start ripping. It's possible. We're going to wait for our levels to hit, which I actually had drawn out on this. But any thoughts while I get this pulled up, Bees?
Up only when?
Right. Yeah, when? When's it going to happen?
When up only?
Let's see.
I don't want any more FVGs getting filled, just up only.
Let's see. Did I have this drawing still? No, I
One
don't.
dildo on top of another.
So, yeah, that would be fantastic, right? Let me put this on a lower time frame. So here are important levels on Ethereum for you guys to watch out for. So you get this big supply overhead now that we've built. Let me just do it on 12 hour so you can start to see this a little bit better. Okay. So we got your major demand zone below, which is from our bear market, this $1,700 level. Okay. This is where I believe price is going to come down to and retest. About $1,750. Okay. This is generational entry, generational buys. You pour in down here, your family's retired. Bull case, you already set your low, and this was your low at about $2,100. Now, do I believe that to be the case? No. Possibly, yeah. But we're going to watch for these two levels because this is technically a macro range low from 2024 January. Okay. I'm expecting this 1750 to get hit. Okay, so here's our 2100. If we start moving up, you want to see 2850 get reclaimed, so get back above this supply overhead, and then the next major level is going to be $3,100. Okay, you get back above $3,100, you're now back in this range over here, or above the mid range of the macro. Okay, of the macro range, and then we can start talking about going up above 4,000 again. So those are your major levels. So I'm looking at 3,100 reclaim here. We're giga bullish. 2,850. We're liking that. 2,100 could be your low, if not 1,750. Okay. So I'm just being patient. That's the thing. People just got to be patient. The men who outlast the other men in the market, those are the ones who are going to win. People will capitulate down at $2,100, or they see it come down to 1,750. They're completely exhausted. Their bags are down. They can't handle it anymore. I'm getting out of this market. Sell. Bang. Next thing you know, 1,750 was the low. Rips up to fucking 12,000 by the end of the cycle. That's what's going to happen. But those are the levels I have on ETH.
Yeah. Yeah, that announcement yesterday kind of threw things off a little bit. I'm kind of happy to see that it's refilling the CME gap from the weekend, because I think if we would have just continued artificially pumping up from here and broken through that old supply level and gotten back into like 28, 2,900, 3,000, I would have just kind of been waiting for the floor to fall out, because it's just propped up by nothing. Except for, I mean, crypto in general is just pure speculation, but it's even worse at that point because it's literally just being propped up by a couple of tweets. So I was happy to see and get the notifications this morning, honestly, that Ethereum had come back down,
Right.
because I didn't want to see it just continue artificially ripping this hard with no support, supporting it. So yeah, I think this is healthy price action this morning. And yeah, I mean, it's a Monday open and it's a month open, so I don't know if two fades make a not fade for today, but yeah, we'll see what the rest of this week does. And I think there's a lot of things that are going to be moving in the right direction for the month of March. I know we had talked last stream, I believe, about March 10th being the day that we had our sights set on for a couple of indicators that are moving in accordance with each other, and there was a lot of confluence with March 10th being a bullish day.
Right.
So yeah, we'll see what happens over the next week, but I'm glad to see this got refilled, and I think this is healthy.
Yeah. And so if you guys look at this, something that's interesting as well, that lines up with the prediction of a 1750, because I do see that being the Pico low. If we get that 1750, you see how right here we had the low oversold, very oversold on RSI on the daily. Right before we had this barely oversold on ETH. Then you get this move back up before eventually becoming very oversold again. Okay. So what this is looking like is we just got that barely oversold, right? This one right here. We come back up, we get this, jump right off of this, and we could do something similar where we kind of come back up, and then we really get that oversold territory, and that's what would be this, right? Something like boom, down to 1750. Now you might say, no, that would suck. What would happen to my bags? What should I do? Yeah, it would suck in the near term, but you want that final flush, that final oversold that we got over here, reaccumulate and see what happens. Then you get this steady uptick to this move, right? Except this time, this move back to the upside is going to be much more aggressive, because if Bitcoin is shooting to new all-time highs, at that point, ETH at the very least is going to get dragged back up to 5K. Okay. So That's what I could see on ETH. That's another reason. I mean, like me and Logan were talking about, we have other indicators, other things that we're paying attention to that would signify one more drop lower. Set the low around March 9th, March 10th. Get down to 1750. Everybody's losing their minds. We're getting the generational entry, buying, and then we ride that bitch back up to a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 Ethereum. So keep in mind, I don't see there being, it's possible we don't get that much more downside. It's possible, but that's what I would expect. Because like I said, you get this bounce, pop back up, boom, nuke. We got this plot right here, pop back up, boom, back down to 1750. So I'm expecting a 1750 ETH. All right. Cool.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at this point.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm preparing for it because it's very simple. We're not overcomplicating things. We either come down to 1750 and we max bid, or if we don't get it, no big deal. We reclaim 3100. We're bulled up to the tits again. Great. Same thing. We write it up from 3100. It's the same thing regardless. It's just if we get down to the 1750, we're just going to max bid hard. Okay, cool. All right, Harry. So you want to take a look at some boys club?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I wanted to see was whenever Ethereum has been at similar levels to where it's at right now, where the boys club were at market cap wise, whenever ETH was at these prices, just to kind of get an idea of like if it's similar to where it was before, if they're slightly larger, slightly smaller, and then be able to kind of forecast where we could expect them to be once we get back up to around 4,000 ETH or higher.
Right.
So I thought that'd be interesting to look at. And I also wanted to mention too, with Ethereum and the boys club, I think it's so important to pay attention yesterday to what happened, because we've said it before. Sometimes it's easy to get into the headspace of thinking, people get burned on coins. They're not going to want to reinvest, or they're just going to leave the market because they're sad about what happened, which is completely the opposite of what actually happens. Like people get burned, then they just FOMO even harder whenever it starts to rip. But, I think that there's obviously been a terrible sentiment around Ethereum. There's been a lot of slander about Ethereum. And for anyone that has been following us for a long time and has been investing in the boys club, it's easy to think, oh, the sentiment around ETH is bad, so the sentiment around ETH meme coins is bad, and ETH beta is going to be bad. I mean, the concept of these being levered Ethereum has proven, if yesterday didn't prove it to you, I don't know what will, because we haven't had a green day on Ethereum in 2 months, 3 months. And the moment that Ethereum puts in a green candle, all 4 of the boys club coins move between 25 and 45% immediately.
Yep.
So, I mean, all that is just still proof of concept, showing you that even though it's been nothing but pain on ETH for 3 months, 4 months straight, as soon as we have a green day, boom, coins move 25 to 45%. So it's showing you that there's still tons of attention around these. They're still going to move every single time Ethereum moves. So again, it reproves the concept and the whole theory that if you believe Ethereum will go up, maybe not in a week or in a month, but it will go up eventually. It will get dug out of the hole that it's in somehow, some way. It always does. Don't believe the FUD that these coins are going to fly every single time.
Exactly. And that's what you want them to do. You want them to behave as beta so you understand how they trade. My portfolio was up 45% yesterday off of one announcement on a Sunday, and ETH was up 10%. It's like, you see how hard Andy and Wolf start pumping. This is how correlated they are still to Ethereum off of a 10% move. ETH starts pumping back up to 4 or 5, 6K, and you've been accumulating where we're talking about accumulating inside the Discord. You're gonna print 6, 7, 8x just back up to the highs on something like Wolf. And then if it goes to new all-time highs, then obviously you're doing 10, 15x plus on your money. So it's just not when, or not if they pump, it's when they pump. When's the ETH gonna move?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think too, it's like yesterday, that was a move, like you said, on a Sunday when not a lot of people are paying attention to what's going on. Not a lot of people are at their computers. It's like the people that were jumping in yesterday, that was a very specific type of individual that was able to capitalize on that move and react that quickly.
Right.
It's like, so they got that kind of attention on a Sunday when no one's paying attention on a 10% move after 3 months of pain. What do you think's going to happen whenever the sentiment around ETH starts to change and around crypto in general, and everyone has their eyes on crypto and shit's happening for weeks straight of just green, 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 green? Everyone is going to be FOMOing in. Um, so yeah, I think at this point, getting back to at least previous all-time highs on Ethereum and previous all-time highs on every single Boys Club coin is inevitable. Um, and if you're getting in at these levels, we talked about it last stream. I mean, Pepe being the least multiples just to get back to previous all-time highs is about a 4x. The other coins are 6, 7, 8x from these levels, just getting back to where we were, which I would say is damn near a guarantee. I don't know when. That's the tricky part, obviously, and trying to time up the entry. If you want to catch the fucking Pico bottom, that's the tough part, which we obviously do. But yeah, I mean, I think it's inevitable. And they've shown yesterday, which was huge to see, that they are still going to move.
Yep.
when ETH does.
And here's the other thing with the Boys Club. The holder count continues to go up even when the price is coming down. So that's inherently super bullish for whenever we get a move back up higher. If a coin is losing holders as the price is going down, that means you want to exit. That means you want to get out. Hype is over. People are leaving the project. There's not a lasting bid on it. There's not a lasting speculative interest in it. If you look at Andy, if you look at Wolf, Pepe, Brett, all these memes have been accumulating holders throughout this entire time. Andy has more holders than it's ever had before. It's not... The price is going down, but we're getting more holders. That means the community is growing. That means more people are becoming aware of it. More people than ever before are also aware that it's a leveraged Ethereum bet, which is important. Why? Because whales, people with large positions who typically would trade on a hyperliquid or some of these Binance, whales, etc., who would be trading on leverage, instead of risking liquidation, which I've already seen Binance whales and some other whales come into Andy and Wolf. We've talked about this in the past. They would one whale from Binance aped in 1.5 mil into Andy and Wolf just a month or two ago. So what these massive whales are going to do is they're going to pile back into Andy and Wolf, understanding that it's literally the same thing as placing a leveraged Ethereum long, except now you don't risk liquidation. Now, if you do get a pullback, if you do get some kind of news event that's inherently bearish in the short term, they're not going to get blown out of their position, and they can still get 5, 6, 7x leverage long on ETH without actually longing it, which is huge. So the fact that more and more people know about that, now it's no longer just retail investors that are going to be interested in Andy and Wolf, but people with tons of liquidity, tons of money that can actually move these types of charts are going to come into Andy and Wolf understanding that it is a leveraged ETH. That's a huge advantage. Other meme coins don't have that. So it's just strictly going to be a hype-driven pump. Hopefully everybody's hyped up on it. They're going to pour into it. You can get these whales to pour into it in the short term. But once they decide to exit those positions, once they decide to lose, that project loses hype around it, just like Solana meme coins, then it's done. It's over. There's no more speculative bid on it. It's done. You missed it. Andy and Wolf, they're always going to have a bid due to the fact that they're leveraged ETH. So anyways, taking a look at Pepe, right? So we take a look at Pepe. I got this in log mode. First of all, it's obviously still been up only since January of 24 when it went on its massive bull run. Yeah, we've had pullbacks alongside of it, but here we go. I mean, obviously, it's clearly still an uptrend. So how do we determine whether or not the Boys Club is actually growing in value while the price of Ethereum is going down? So the easiest way to take a look at something like that is, well, what's the pair trade? Even if Pepe USD has been coming down this year so far, is the value of Pepe going up in comparison to Ethereum? That's what's important. If the value of Pepe in comparison to Ethereum is going up, that's why we hold Pepe instead of Ethereum, because Pepe is a better hold. So how do you take a look at something like that? Well, you look at the Pepe ETH pair chart. So let's take a look at that. As you were saying, the price of these coins in comparison to, that's market cap. Is this ETH Pepe?
Yeah, in comparison to ETH.
This is ETH BTC, so this would probably be it. Pepe ETH, yeah. So here's a different way to look at Pepe. If you look at the Pepe divided by Ethereum chart, now we're denominating Pepe in ETH, okay? So how much Pepe Well, how much is Pepe worth in the denomination of Ethereum? As this chart goes up, that means Pepe is a better hold than Ethereum. Okay? Well, take a look at this. What have we done since Pepe launched back in 23 in the bear market? We can literally just pull it from down here. Okay, obviously that's a huge diagonal to draw from the beginning, but obviously it's been up only. So if you've held Pepe from the launch of the project, no matter how many pullbacks we got, no matter how much bleeding we got, we come back to the boom, pump again, bleeding, pump again, bleeding. No matter where you've held it over time, it's appreciated in comparison to Ethereum. Therefore, you hold Pepe instead of ETH if you want to make more money this cycle. Well, that's important to understand because if ETH Pepe continues to go up, that's your confidence that you continue to hold the boys club. Because if you think ETH is going to move up from where it's at right now, guess what? Pepe divided by ETH, even though the price of Ethereum is going up, Pepe is going to go up more. Okay? So if you take a look at something like this on Pepe ETH, you see we're right back into this demand zone, right? So we could call it like right here. Can even tighten it up a bit. Oops.
Yeah, and I think while you're doing that too, it's important to just notice that whenever this chart is pumping hard, it's every single time that Ethereum's been performing well.
Right.
So it's like this chart makes perfect sense. You expect ETH to be able to handle the dips better and not experience as much downside holding something like ETH versus something that's levered.
Right.
So whenever ETH is performing well, obviously Pepe is going to severely outperform it because that's its job. And then whenever we're in a bear market and things are moving to the downside, the whole reason maybe you would hold ETH is because you don't experience as much downside when we're moving down. So, you see like this chart pumped in like November into December. If you scroll over to the left a little bit, you can see it pumped hard in like March and April, which was whenever, Ethereum was ripping back at the beginning of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, this chart makes sense and, it shows that Pepe is doing its job.
Yes, exactly. It is doing its job. So that's why we're super bullish on these assets, because if you have $100,000 in your portfolio and you want to gain as many multiples as humanly possible, you can size into something like a Pepe with 100 grand very easily, very liquid. You can size in 100 grand into Andy and Wolf. And you're going to turn that 100 grand into $1 million as opposed to that 100 grand in Ethereum and only turn it into 200 or 300 grand, right? So that's the whole reason we move further and further down the risk curve. So we take a look at this Pepe ETH chart. We say, all right, it's doing its job. It's holding up exactly where we want it to hold up. You're probably going to see this continue to do what? Reaccumulate, hopefully right in here. Okay. Reaccumulate, and then you're going to get what? This. That's what you're going to see happen towards the end of this cycle. You're going to see this blow off top. This move that you got right here. This massive move, which was back in, exactly where I thought it was, back when we did that 10x back in February of 2024. You're going to get this move not only on USD pairing, but you're going to get it on the Pepe ETH pair, which was what? A 7x. So Pepe gained 7x value in comparison to Ethereum. So that means it was a 7x leverage on ETH. So you do the same thing over here. 7x would have been right here. So we'll see Pepe have this one blow off top, this one last leg before the end of the cycle once we actually get an alt season. Now you've outperformed Ethereum. Great. Pepe did its job. So yeah, that's very important to understand. Even with ETH USD going down, our meme coins that we're holding as leveraged ETH are gaining value against ETH. All right, so that's that. And then let's take a look at, we can take a look at Brett now.
I'm trying to think of who I was talking to the other day, and they said Eth.
Eth?
Yeah.
Did they have a speech impediment? Eth.
Eth. I got an Eth instead of ETH.
I'm holding Eth.
It's levered Eth.
Levered Eth. All right, let's see. Where's Bretsky? Bretskaroo. I want the... Should be, they have a spot. No, that's not the right one. Here we go. Brett USDT. Brett wrapped on in USD. I want in USD. In USD. Here we go. Brett wrapped Ether on USD. Is this the one? Uniswap V3. Yeah. Okay.
1 second.
Look at this.
Okay. Wait, give me 1 second.
You're good.
I gotta set this garbage bag over. Dude, this garbage smells like dog shit.
Get it out of there. So here's Brett USD or ETH. Same idea. Since it's launched, up only. Okay, so Brett is still a better hold than Ethereum. This is why we hold it. We take a look at Andy. Where's our precious Andy? Andy in USD. We'll take this. We'll remove all the drawings. Do we want to remove? Yeah, we'll remove them all. Let's get them out of here. Lock drawings. You have lock drawings in the symbol. Do you want to remove lock drawings too? Yes. Make them all gone. I'll redraw them down the road. So we'll do Andy divided by ETH. Same thing you guys are going to see. Look. Up. Do it from here. However you want to draw this diagonal. Obviously, this was extreme, but technically from down here. Right? But the point is they're all appreciating against Ethereum. So when we get in an environment when these things can outperform ETH, when ETH is in favorable conditions, you're going to see pumps that you've never seen before. You're going to see moves that... Like, it's hard to help people rationalize what can happen once you actually get an alt season because they've never seen it before. But these moves that we've had on the Boys Club from beginning of 2024 when we ripped 10, 15Xs, 10X on Pepe, back to the moves that we got from September or October to December where we did another 6 to 8X on Andy and Wolf. Pepe did a couple Xs, Brett did a couple Xs. You know, those are amazing. And people made a shit ton of money off of it. Great. It's just not even, it's not remotely close to what's actually going to happen when and if we get favorable conditions. ETH BTC has not pumped yet. Bitcoin dominance has not dumped yet. GLI has not hit all-time highs again yet. QT hasn't ended yet. All these things that are inherently bearish have not stopped yet. And the Boys Club have still performed the way that they performed. So those who are intelligent enough to understand that this is when you accumulate these assets. I mean, obviously those inside of our Discord, they all understand it. They've all been accumulating at the right times. They're going to see such big moves to the upside that everybody else who's sidelined, they're going to have to cope and FOMO back in much, much higher. Not understanding that the meat of the move, the best part of the cycle hasn't even happened yet. And they should be sprinting right now to actually be prepared and take advantage of that opportunity. But if you don't have the vision, you're not going to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think what I always think about too is just the way that some of those coins moved last cycle. Dogecoin, I don't really pay too much attention to because that one was just, I mean, it was kind of an anomaly. With the amount of attention it was getting. I mean, especially like if you get Elon Musk with his platform to back anything, like I can't remember what video I was just watching, but they were talking about that where they were saying Elon Musk can single-handedly absolutely destroy or prop up and put on a pedestal any business, any individual, any concept, any investment opportunity, like whatever he gets behind, he's either going to bury it or he's going to put it on a pedestal and make it do unbelievable. Because it's like he has unlimited resources, he has unlimited money, he has unlimited influence. I mean, he has one of the biggest followings in the world. I mean, he's just and he obviously backed Doge very heavily. So I think unless something gets that kind of attention, I don't know who else could really. I mean, maybe Trump with his, but I hope to God that he doesn't start doing stuff like that. I don't know of anyone else that could really drive a pump like Doge aside from Elon. But I think about how many other coins I've seen, even like this cycle so far, how many soul shitters I've seen pumped to over $1 billion, $2 billion, just with a little bit of momentum and a little bit of attention, like the peanut fucking coin, goat Zeus.
Yeah.
Like all these coins that people have forgotten about now. I mean, I'm sure they're still doing all right, but it's like these coins pumped to billions of dollars in market cap in a couple of weeks on Solana with no real backing, no real publicity, just just was a hype coin for a couple weeks and ran to a couple bill.
Right.
So it's like from these levels that we're getting into, especially on Andy and Landwolf, if these coins can get to half a quarter of the market cap that some of these absolute shit projects have gotten to in a week or two, from these levels, it's going to be unbelievable. And I mean, especially like once things really start to heat up, obviously retail doesn't really know how to come on chain. So I think once it starts to get into a true alt season, getting listings for Andy and Wolf and Brett is going to be a lot more important because those people that start to come in super late to the party don't really know how to come on chain, and they're just going to be buying what they can get on Robinhood.
Right.
But I think from what we saw before with the many periods of alt outperformance that we saw in 2024, if we can recreate that with a little bit more momentum and get a little bit higher levels, they're going to be able to get listed no problem. And then Pepe already has a ton of attention, and yeah, I mean the boys club narrative is gonna catch wind for sure. And when it does, yeah, like you said, the levels that it's gonna hit are people can't process it right now, but it's gonna be
They can't. That's why I'm so excited for the individuals that we've been with for a while now, because the community has been growing. We got a couple of fucking savages inside the Discord, and I'm just so excited to see what they do this next leg up, because I know how large some of their positions are. And so, I hope they understand. They might not get it yet, but there's going to be some wife changing money made by some of these individuals. So
yeah. And I mean, it's like you got to remember too how much money some people have made off of crypto. Like, I think sometimes people get in this like narrow thinking mindset where they're just so used to seeing how stocks perform, and then they come over to crypto and they see the volatility, and we talk about the levels that these coins could hit. Like, oh, they can't see themselves. And I've been in that headspace before too, where you almost can't see yourself making that much money off of your investment. You're like, is that really possible? Like, is my 10 grand actually going to be able to turn into $100,000 or $200,000?
Right.
Like, it doesn't seem possible, but there's so many fucking stories in crypto of people starting with a couple $1,000 and becoming millionaires. Like, it's going to happen. There's no commission cap in crypto. Your portfolio is not going to get capped off because you started making money.
Exactly.
So, well, just gotta think big.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't believe a certain amount of money is able to be made, you're never going to make that money. You have to understand with the data that you just have to look. You have to understand the data. You have to see what's been done before. And once you understand how things have been done before, you can believe that can happen to you. It will if you stick around long enough and you have the right people around you to walk you through these cycles, to make sure that they encourage you whenever times feel tough, whenever you want to sell, whenever you want to capitulate. You need that network, those people around you understand what's happening, bigger picture in the market, so you don't fuck up and do something like selling the Pico low, buying back in way higher, then you get another pullback, then you sell low again, and then you just end up chopping up your entire portfolio, losing half of your capital. And then to the upside, what happens is if you don't understand what's happening in the markets, you might even made a shit ton of profit off of your portfolio, but then you end up round tripping your entire bag, and then you go into a bear market, and then you end up making no money in the bull run, and it was all for nothing. That is the last thing you want to happen. You don't want to wait 4 or 5 years, accumulate these massive positions, and then you just literally don't know how or when to sell, and then you miss it. And then all of a sudden it's over, and now you're in a year-long bear market, and you're fucked. And you have to try again next cycle. Don't be that guy. I assure you, $50 a month to make sure that you make an extra 5, 6, 7 figures on your portfolio is a worthwhile investment, so you understand what's actually happening in these cycles. So I just want to share this real quick for the gentleman. March 1st, we launched the private Discord. So we're officially now completely off of the school community. We're only within our private Discord where we have multiple different campuses for everybody to be able to make money. So as you guys can see on the screen, this is the taylorscode.com. The link is in the description. If you're not inside the network already, the professional is access to the private Discord. That's access to myself, Logan, Bobby, You're going to get analysis, TA, understand what's happening in the markets. You're going to get live updates every single day as opposed to the 2 times that we're live on stream. If you want access to the private Discord or to the private crypto play section of the Discord, that's where I'm going to give you when I'm buying assets, when I'm selling assets, what new assets that we're accumulating at the lows that we don't talk about live on YouTube, understanding what's actually happening from a positional standpoint. Do the gentleman, okay, the gentleman's program. If you want access to the entire Discord, so that's the private crypto plays, the fitness campus with Logan, the e-commerce campus with Bobby, who's going to show you how to open up an e-com store, make money with e-com, then you want to do the hero program, okay? But I just want to make sure everybody understands on the stream, we're completely moved to the Discord now, which has completely changed the way that we do business because now everything's way faster. We have multiple different bots inside of there that we use for trading, that we use for charting, that we use for analysis on these assets. Complete game changer as opposed to the school community. So this is where we're at now. It's the taylorscode.com. Join one of the networks. Whenever you join, you're going to get your link to the Discord. We're going to get you added, get your rules assigned. Then we're going to show you how the Discord works. But outside of that, anything you want to add there, Bees? Talk about the fitness campus a little bit.
Do you want to talk about the promo for March?
Huge. Yeah. Gentlemen, for March, only for March. Okay, so March 31st, 11:59 p.m., the discount code is finite. Done. So for the first month of March, if you're not inside the Discord yet, there's a $40 off discount code. Okay, so if you hit join network, I'll show you guys how to do it right now. Teach you. You join one of these, you're going to add the promo code TC444. Bumbleclot, what happened? Oh, no. There we go.
Numlock.
There we go. So TC444. Use TC444 for your first month is going to be $40 off. $10. $10. That's what you spend. It's less than what you spend at McDonald's every week. So join the Discord so you can at least get a feel for the community, understand what it is that we're doing, what the value is, why it makes sense for you and your portfolio. Hold on, let's do this again. Slow motion. But yeah, use TC444 is the discount code for you gentlemen, okay? Outside of that, we got about 6 minutes left.
I'm going to show my website real quick.
Yeah.
So I'm getting the Stripe links attached right now, currently. And then I'm going to get the pictures updated here on my my website. But whenever you guys come to the website, this pop-up is going to show up every single time for the month of March. So this pop-up, the dev added this. Nice touch.
Nice touch.
So whenever you come to the website, it's going to pop up. Yeah, it says get 40% off. It's not. I'm going to have him remove that because it's not really accurate. But using the promo code BZ40 for the month of March. So yeah, up till March 31st at 11:59 p.m. Use this code. You'll get $40 off your first month. So the website, I'm going to get these pictures updated within the next couple days. I'm having some better pictures taken. But yeah, everything is set up here. It talks about what we offer. It says a little bit about me and why I got into fitness, why I wanted to start doing this, what kind of training I do currently. And then, yeah, similar to Priamo's website that he was just showing you there, his landing page, this shows the 3 different membership options that are available. For the fitness section, $50 a month, which is the base membership. You do get access to the general chat. So you'll be able to, see the general crypto chat, the general e-com chat, the general community chat where all the members are just, talking about what we're doing, talking about business, talking about life, talking about fitness, everything else. And then you will also get full access to the fitness campus. So within the fitness campus, I post all my daily strength training workouts. I post all the vitamins and supplements that I'm taking, all the recommendations that I'm getting from my health coach from Merrick based off of my labs that I did, which, for anyone that wants to do something similar, I can definitely help you with that. I'm meeting with the physician here in the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to be putting up a YouTube video talking about the whole experience. Once I actually do get to meet with the physician, I post all my, diet, supplement tips, sleeping tips, recovery tips. There's there's a section in there for biohacking stuff, which I'm not super into, but I think some of it's kind of funny and it's cool to talk about. And then there is a faith section as well. I read my Bible every single day. Obviously, a lot of people have different views about faith and what they believe, but I just want to have a section and an area where people can talk about that with other like-minded individuals. Especially today, a lot of people have trouble finding a church that they really resonate with and connect with and feel comfortable at. So, maybe you're not someone that does go to church consistently, or you haven't found a place where you really feel welcome to talk about what you want to talk about. I have that in there as well. And then the $99 a month is just same thing as everything from tier one, just a lot more personalized coaching. So me helping you develop the workout plan to suit your needs, tailoring the diet to fit your needs and your goals, and one-on-one weekly calls to do accountability, answer questions, all that kind of stuff, either Zoom or phone call, whatever you prefer. And then like Priamo said, the ultimate membership is the same for me, Bobby, and Priamo across the board. You get full access to every single part of the Discord, crypto access, ecom access, full availability for myself and personalized coaching. And then I don't know if Priamo mentioned this, but with the ultimate membership, which he has a typo there, I'm going to have him add an R. If you guys add this at a later date, it would end up costing an additional $50 per month because those extra campuses to add are $50 a piece. So if you do it initially upon your initial enrollment, you will save yourself $50 a month by doing it up front. So I'm going to have all this finalized within the next couple of days. I'll put this in my Instagram and in my YouTube account. All my socials will be linked on this website as well. So if you guys want to visit any of my other socials, you'll be able to find it on bzperformance.com.
Banger. Absolute banger.
But,
all right, gentlemen. March, baby. Discord's cracking. The gentlemen are on fire, accumulating the assets. The gentlemen are bullish. We just got a sub on... wow, this guy's a bomba clut. All right. Trying to sell us something. It's all right. I don't hate it. But outside of that, ladies and gentlemen, we're out. Fantastic stream. We'll see you guys inside the Discord. And I'm doing a little Mr. Producer real quick. Where are we at here? Hold on. Mr. Producer.
Good night.
Look at them. They're all fucking, they love it. They all love it. Oh my God.
All right, brother.
All right, Harry. Let me give it a little